Hello everybody, here we are. We're just reviewing this beach metal detector. This is called the White's Beach Hunter ID. Now the newer one that's out now is a White's Beach Hunter ID 300, which we'll have in another episode. But before they had that, they had the ID, and the major difference, and the only real difference that I know of, is the coil. The 300 coil is much bigger. This is the old coil. Now there was a coil before this that was even older, but this is the White's Beach Hunter ID. And it's a beach metal detector. It has two frequencies, which basically means it does better on the salt water, in the salt water, and on the salt beach or the sand than your average metal detector. Now, it doesn't have a display that tells you how deep things are, but you don't need that really on the beach from what I find. It does have reset, discrimination, and all metal modes. So that's basically a discrimination and all metal mode, and then a reset, which you can reset it quite quickly when you're actually using that. And it has three knobs, and one knob is basically a grounding knob to ground it. Another one is a sensitivity knob, and then there is the threshold. And the sensitivity knob is also a battery check, and I really like that because all you got to do is just turn it all the way where it says battery check, and it tells you how the batteries are. They also, besides the different tones, if you're in discrimination mode, you have many different tones depending what you're going over. But besides that, they also have lights. They have a red light for iron. For rings and pull tabs, you would have a yellow light, and for coins, you have a green light. I find this, from my experience on the beach, to be very accurate, and it's very helpful knowing what I'm about to dig. I do try to dig everything except iron, of course, but it's very accurate, especially with coins, telling you you're about to dig up a coin, so I know what to look for. I really like that about this. I could also just listen to the tone and not even look at the lights, and as you get to know your machine and know the tones, it really helps. So you don't necessarily need the lights, but I like them. Another thing is, if I want to get a little bit more depth, I can go to all metal mode, and all metal mode won't give different tones when I'm listening to it. Everything will sound the same. However, I can still discriminate because of the three different lights that I have here. This is, of the detectors I've reviewed and used, one of the simplest, easiest detectors to get to know and understand. It's waterproof. It goes down in the water up to 25 feet and safely, and it has a battery pack. It takes 8 AA batteries, and it's made by White's, which is an excellent company. And most important to me is they have great customer service if you need it. Not that you necessarily would need it. And basically, I really like this machine. There are some machines that'll get more depth in the water, and they're heavier to do so. But this machine does go in the water. It's just easier to move back and forth and swing. So as you're swinging quicker, it's you're able to cover more ground without your arm going tired. It's easier. From my experience with other metal detectors on the beach, you actually need to get either a straight shaft or move the control box up so it's not so heavy and your arm doesn't get tired. With this Beach Hunter ID, you don't need to do that. It's very light and you can just swing. It also has a strap here, which is nice, which a lot of the water detectors do not come with a strap. And this also, control box will also separate, and you can place it on your belt if you want. Now this machine is not as heavy as other beach metal detectors, and that's a good and bad thing. One of the things, the negative points you hear about it is in the water it tends to float. Well, that's because it's not as heavy. You could weight this down. There are several different ways on the internet. People have been doing it. People have been getting like a PVC pipe and just putting sand in it and just velcroing it to the coil to weigh it down, and I hear that works well. But primarily for the sand, you don't need to do that, and the fact that it's so light is wonderful because you could just go back and forth and swing without your arm getting tired, and it's not as heavy as the other water and beach metal detectors. So I think that's really nice. Now, to lighten up those other ones, you have to buy an extra straight shaft or move the control box somewhere else. But with this, you're going to save the money because you don't have to do it, because it is literally one of the lightest metal detectors, especially beach detectors, even of the non-beach detectors out there. And I could swing for hours and hours, and my arm just doesn't get tired. One thing I like about this is I was using another metal detector, and it wasn't necessarily made for the beach. And this is why I love this one. I noticed a difference. It must be the frequencies, that this has two frequencies and that one doesn't. But basically, I'm able to pick up more stuff on the beach with this. I can't say deeper. I pick up deep stuff with everything, but I've actually found needles with this, or little pins. I don't know what needles and pins are doing on the beach, but I've actually found those. This is really nice. And the earphones, I like these earphones. I've seen reviews online where people say the headphones fall off. That has not been my experience. I have not went underwater with these, so I don't know underwater, but for the most part, they're very comfortable. And these are the stock headphones that come with it. Now, it is a wired machine like most water metal detectors, so meaning you cannot change out the coil or the headphones yourself. You'd have to send it back to the company if you desire to do something like that. But basically, it swings really well. And again, this is an older model, and it holds up really well because it's an older model and it's in perfect working condition. And White's is wonderful customer service. If you need to get in touch with them, they're just great. I would definitely recommend, you can find this online used right now. We're in 2013. You could probably find something like this online. Brand new, the Beach Hunter ID 300 goes for about $899 to $1,000, depending where you're looking. That's new. But you could find a Beach Hunter ID on eBay or somewhere else on the internet. You'd expect to pay around the $500 range for one of these. It's a great value. One of the things you want to do is, if you are going to buy it used, there's a serial number on the box, and what you could do is give the serial number to a White's dealer or one of the White's people, and they could tell you when the machine was actually made, and it was probably sold within a year or so after that, so you get an idea how old the machine is. But still, this particular machine is 7 years old and it works just fine. Now, another great thing about this is this box completely comes off very easy by just pressing these two things, and you could use it as a hip mount. Now, I do think you need that for some of the other water metal detectors, but again, this one I don't think you need that because it is just so light. And I've even held this with a straight shaft and it was even lighter, but it's very, very light, easy to swing. And I like also on the headphones here, the wire is very long, and that's a nice addition, and it's great. Another thing some people might say that's negative about this is there's no volume control. Well, there technically is a volume control because the threshold and the sensitivity button will give a slight hum, and you want to use it just for that slight hum. But if you want to lower that hum, you could just lower the threshold and the sensitivity, and that hum will be very light and it won't be as loud as all. But sometimes if it's wavy out, I'll like it loud. Now, they tell me you can't use this off the beach or it won't work well off the beach. Well, I have used it off the beach. I've used it in parks and grasslands, and I found it to be very reliable. I like it a lot. There's not necessarily a pinpoint on this. Unless you're in all metal, you can kind of get an idea where something is. And it's a moving pinpoint, so you basically, when you find your target, you kind of just move over it, and it's very easy to pinpoint. You don't need a specific separate pinpoint from my experience, and I don't have many years doing this, and it was still very easy to do. So I've tried several different machines on the beach, and without a doubt, up to now, this one is my favorite. There are some machines that are deeper, and they're also heavier. And you know, every machine has his benefits and its drawbacks. But for the most part, you know, if I had to get one machine for the beach, as of now, it would definitely be the Beach Hunter. Now, I'm going to go get a 300 and test that. But the Beach Hunter ID I'm very impressed with and I like a lot, and I think you will as well. So now let's take a closer look at the box and see exactly what it looks like now. Okay, here we are looking at the box of the Beach Hunter ID. It has a quick instructions, which I never had to read. That's how easy it is. But it's 1, 2, 3, and 4. How to ground balance it and exactly what the instructions say. And there are the 3 lights and explains what they are for. The iron will be nails or metal or relics, and the rings and the chains, pretty much gold, will be the yellow, and then the coins, penny, dimes, and quarters are usually green. And then there are the 3 buttons, and these are the lights. The lights light up right there, red, green, and yellow. And pretty much that's it. And there's the nodule for the discrimination, all metal, or reset. And it's comes in a nice box, which is waterproof. And there's the nice arm strap again. And now, one thing to notice here is, from what I understand, the newer models, this is an orange seal that goes around it. It's on the inside. But if you are looking at this used, the newer models, pretty much that seal will be orange. Now, this is an older model, but it's an orange seal, so I know it was refurbished at some point. So basically, there it is, this handle grip, and it's a nice long wire. And then there it is, and this is the coil, and this is what the newer of the old coils looks like. because they have an older model than this, which the sticker will just be together from what I understand, go all the way around. The lines in the middle here on the older one. And they do sell a coil cover for it, and it's not like a spider coil, so it's pretty easy to get it on and off. And people ask me if they should use a coil cover while at the beach, and from my experience, some people do and don't. If you're on rocky water, it might be necessary, but if you're in sand, it might not be necessary. It's a good idea to take the coil cover off if you're going to be using it to wash it out, so you don't get too much sand and water in there. So basically, that's the Beach Hunter ID by Whites. Whites is a great company, and you can find a dealer. Just go to their website, look them up on eBay, and it's a wonderful thing. Again, before buying it, you might want to check eBay or Craigslist and see if you can find it used. And now they do, another thing that's great is they give a 2-year warranty, which is very nice, a 2-year warranty. Not that you're going to need it because it's just such a great machine, and it's built wonderful, built like a tank, as they say, but it doesn't weigh like a tank. So there it is. That's my review for the Whites Beach Hunter ID. What I find one of the best beach metal detectors out there. You can't go wrong. And there's the headphones. One more good thing to mention on the headphones is if you do find it used, the headphones are about $100 to $150 to replace if they're broke in the metal area or something. However, if one of these straps is just broke, that's only $5 to fix. You could buy them and they'll give it to you, and it just attaches the headphones to hold them. So if it's a wiring issue, you got to send it back. There's a quick turnaround, and it's about $150. But if it's just one of these plastic things that are broke, it's only a couple dollars to fix. So that's something I found and to keep in mind as well. All right, so that's my review of the Whites Beach Hunter ID. And if you have any questions or comments, just post them below the video. And again, I highly recommend this metal detector. Hello everybody, here I am, and I just did a review of the Beach Hunter ID, and now I got the Beach Hunter ID 300, and I just want to go over some of the differences. And it's been a while since I've been using the Beach Hunter ID and now the Beach Hunter ID 300, so I just want to explain a couple of things that I found out and learned during this review here. So as I was saying previously, the Beach Hunter ID is the original Whites Beach Hunter, but they had 2 different prototypes. One had the sticker going straight across, and one had the sticker with a black line in between, which I showed you. And now this is the Beach Hunter ID, and I was saying the major difference is the coil. It's called the 300 coil, and there's a 12-inch coil. So as you see, it's a Beach Hunter ID 300. So this is the new one, and so the coil is bigger. It's going to cover more ground. It's also deeper, so it's going to get down deeper. And on this one, it's all yellow, which is really great because when you're in the water, it is waterproof. When you're in the water, you can see the coil in the ground. If the water is clear enough, it's nice. Now, this has a coil cover on it, and I do recommend having a coil cover. I did a lot of research, and most of the people recommend having a coil cover. Yes, you're on a beach, but when you're in the water, you could hit some rocks. It's always best. And another good idea is to take the coil cover off and shake out the sand after each use. Now, my experience with coil covers, especially the Beach Hunter here or any Whites 300 coil, is it's not easy to get the coil cover off. It's much easier, I have found, when it's dry. So what I usually do is when I come home, I wash it off with a hose or some water, and I let it dry, and then I'll pull it off, and it comes off much easier after I pull it off when it's dry. It's very difficult when it's wet. So don't be discouraged if you get this. Use the coil cover if you have this. It's better. Now, another thing I got here, one of the complaints that I read in reviews was this coil, it would turn up and down in the water. Well, I bought this little piece here, and you can get it online, and it just helps the coil stay in place, and it can't move any more than that. And that's this little piece here. It's very inexpensive. If you are going to have one of these, I do recommend that. And the other thing here about the coil is some people say the coil floats. And the old Whites coil did float. And this coil, from my experience, it hasn't floated. I put it in the water, and I'm able to keep it down. I don't have to hold it down. And now the box floats, but I'm going to get a straight shaft for this. But this is the factory S shaft. And it's not that heavy. It's really nice. It is a little heavier than the old coil that they used to have because it's a bigger coil. It makes it a little heavier. I know the straight shaft is gonna help balance that out. And the earphones are the same earphones that they had on the old one. Very comfortable. I've tried several different water detectors, and these have been the best earphones that I found that come with the unit. You could always buy an upgrade. Now this is attached automatically, so if you upgrade, you don't want to be under warranty. If you're upgrading, it might void the warranty. But after the upgrade, you really don't need new headphones for this, because I find these to be excellent. And what else here on the box? This is the box of the new. It looks the same way as the previous one of the Beach Hunter, and has your lights and the same controls. Everything's identical. The only difference here is the coil. And at the bottom of the box, I put these two stand rest on, which come with the unit as well. The batteries, it opens and closes quite well. It's fine. This is the Beach Hunter 300, and it's a great machine, as I said. For the price, it retails for about $1,000, but I've seen it for $850 new at some of dealers. If you just ask them what's the best price you could give me, they might be able to do it around $850. You could usually find something like this online on eBay used for about $600 or $700, which is a great deal. There's a 2-year warranty on this, which is really nice, but you're really not going to use it. I found the White's customer service has been some of the best of all the metal detecting companies out there that I've dealt with, and they've just been known for great customer service. As a matter of fact, I thought I had an issue with this, and I was going to send it, and I called them up, and they sent me a completely new detector, and they told me just send the other one in. They went on a trust system. They were very easy to deal with, so the White's customer service is wonderful. And for that alone, if you're not sure which detector to get, should I get a White's Beach Hunter ID or a dual field PI, or should I get one from another company? Even if those detectors are a little better, you gotta understand White's it's made in the United States, and the customer service is just wonderful. It's just great. Now, I said I had a problem with this, and the problem I did have, it was only 2 things I discovered I didn't like about this. One thing was, the first thing is this toggle switch, which we'll get a closer look here in a second. I noticed when I bought it, there's 3 modes. There's a reset, a discrimination, and an all metal. Now, when you're in all metal, it's going to get deeper, and you're going to pick things up. But the tone is the same to everything. When you're in discriminate, it's going to discriminate with 2 or 3 different beeps. But there's these lights here, the iron, the rings, and the coins. Now, the coins are always going to be green, and the iron's always going to be red. Now, yellow is for rings, but it's also for bottle caps. So what I do is I put this on all metal so I can get as deep as possible, and all the sounds are the same. But then depending on the light, I know what I'm digging. However, if you put it on discriminate, you're going to get different tones to have an idea what you're digging. So 2 of the issues I had with this machine is, one, the toggle switch. When I put it in all metal, which I like to do, it easily went back into discrimination. Sometimes if I'm out hunting for an hour, maybe 4 or 5 times, it might automatically just go back into discrimination. And I did research. I thought it was bad. I called White's up, and again, they sent me a new machine, but it looked like it was the same situation. So I did more research, and I found out that's one of the flaws of this machine. It's not really a big flaw, and not something that I would just use to not get the machine, but some suggestions they had and people had was, number one, you could just use a rubber band and tie it around here, and that'll help it stay in position. And some people use a hair dryer, and they're not too hot. They don't want to mess the wires up, but they blew it a little, and that helped it stay. But the White's company basically said, in time it'll stick better and it'll be just fine. As a matter of fact, I've had this now quite a while, and it's already, I find it sticking better, so it's already improving itself. I did use a rubber band with the hair dryer, so that most likely helped, but I find that to be good. Now here is the big problem I had with this is the ring tones of the 3 different things. When it says rings, well, bottle cap and a ring, from my experience, is the same. It's the same light and it's the same tone. So you don't know if you're picking up a bottle cap or a ring. So it doesn't discriminate. Now, most of the beach machines won't be able to discriminate, especially if it's a single frequency. This is a dual frequency. But bottle caps or pull tabs or rings or jewelry are all the same. They sound exactly the same. So you're going to end up picking a lot of trash with this machine. And again, it's good to know if you're picking up a coin or not, but there's no, and iron, it kind of takes out pretty easily, so you know if it's iron. But other trash, it really, it's almost, you might as well get a PI machine, which is the dual field PI machine by White's, which I could discuss another time, it just has one tone and it goes really deep and you don't know what you're getting. But it's pretty much the same thing as this. I mean, you know if you're getting a coin or a ring, but let's face it, we're looking for the jewelry, folks. We're not looking for the clad coins with this on the beach. And the rings we want to, if we can, discriminate from the bottle caps. You know, some people say pick up everything anyway, and I'm a fan of picking up everything anyway, but it'd be really cool if I could know if it was a bottle cap I'm picking up or if it was a ring or something else. With this machine, I haven't figured out a way to do that. So other than that, I love the machine, and I would definitely recommend it. It's a very simple machine to know, to use. The grounding on the machine, there's a control for grounding, and pretty much instead of other machines that you pump, this machine you would just hold at waist level and you would slowly bring it down, and if the tone sounds the same without changing the pitch getting lower or higher, then you know it's grounded well. It's very easy to ground, and I like the reset switch. If you're in all metal or discriminate and you want to just change real quickly, you can just hit reset. It's a wonderful machine. As I've been saying and as I just did, I wouldn't let those two things not let somebody get it. I think if you're looking for a beach machine for the price, this is an excellent machine to get. It's the Beach Hunter ID by Whites. All right, if you have any comments or questions, post them below the video. Until then, everybody, have a great day and keep swinging. So now here's a closer look at the control panel. The armrest is in the way here, but there's the toggle switch I was talking about. And as I was saying, it goes here, but it goes back so quickly. So here it goes pretty tight. It's good there, but you you don't even almost touch it and it just goes back. So if you're here in all metal, it goes back to discriminate way too easy, and it pops back there sometimes and discriminate. Your machine is not broke if you get this, and it's very loose. That's just the way it is. So it's not broke, it's just the way it is. Keep that in mind if you get this. Other than that, it's a wonderful machine. And there goes the coil. This is the 300 coil. There it is, 300. And if you have any comments or questions, post them below the video.